Hi, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. Mike, we're back in business. That's right. It was just a
The season was over 20 minutes before the last game, and now we're back. Yeah, I believe in this team again.
The text messages that Mike and I had going back and forth going into that third period.
I was like, Matt, show topic one. What even is the Iser plan? Huh? Just overpay a bunch of old, shitty defensemen and shore up your team with a bunch of bottom nine forwards, huh? Oh, brilliant. Love this. Sign me up for 6 more years. Yeah.
No, and yeah, it was looking real ugly.
And then we came back. Not that we could watch it, because the Bally Sports app is a fucking piece of shit. And Matt, sometimes we try to see how long we can last without swearing, but every time I bring up the Bally Sports app, I just can't not say fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, they don't sponsor us. We don't need to be friends with them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, they do help me out quite a bit since I steal all those videos and then we share them on Twitter. But now I can't do that. So yeah, extra fuck them.
They flagged you for sharing videos?
No, the app is dead. I can't steal from them.
Oh, it's so bad you can't steal it. Okay.
Yeah, it's non-existent. I can't.
That's their reaction.
Pull any videos. Yeah.
Instead of stopping people from pirating, they've just made an app that doesn't work because it's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We better all be getting a refund, by the way. It's not cheap, like opting for that app.
Early bid for comment of the episode. Fritz823 says ESPN Plus with a private network. I like that idea.
Somebody said that to me, but then I gotta don't you have to pay for the VPN stuff? Don't you have to subscribe?
Fritz, fill us in on that. Matt and I are old. We don't know how to VPN.
I only know about it because of I subscribe to all the Kind of Funny videos, and like that's the brand is Kind of Funny. If you guys haven't heard of it, I just watch Kind of Funny videos.
Everything in moderation.
Their sponsor has been like a VPN provider.
Jim, we do have actual. I know, Jim. I'm fired up because I wanted to see the Red Wing game. I had to watch a replay. Now I wanted to watch my beloved Pistons. It's not even on. But yeah, Matt, we got actual hockey news to talk about because these Red Wings, they like playing with our emotions.
Yeah. Dan B says VPN services charged by bandwidth. So that would be 34 inches right now is my bandwidth. Get it? Like pants. Okay.
Like pants. Like your pants. We get it, Matt. All right. Here we go.
Hey guys, there's that there's the Discord again. We have some pretty good game day chats. I missed the whole last one because it was Monday Night Football and I couldn't watch the last game, so I didn't even sign in because I had nothing to add. Fritz says the VPN is like $2 a month. Blake,
Whoa.
That's mean. Blake, come
he's trying to save us here.
Yeah, Blake's helping us.
Yeah.
I mean, Fritz, not Blake. You're just being mean. What the hell?
Blake, make fun of our mom. That's fine. All right.
Carter Mazur. Reference some news. Carter Mazur activated, signed to Grand Rapids Griffins. Super exciting. You know what was exciting? The 3 seconds of reading the Detroit Red Wings have activated Carter Mazur, and then the 2 seconds were not exciting when you read the end of the tweet that said he's been sent down to Grand Rapids. I was just kind of like, oh shit, are they stuck with him like for some injury clause or something like that? But no, he's down in Grand Rapids. So good news for Carter. Good news for his health. You know,
pretty good tease.
We do this all the time, Mike. Like, I don't want Grand Rapids to fail, but I just don't want them
to do. I don't want them to do this well. I want to kind of pillage a lot of their players and bring them up to Detroit. But
yeah,
people have fetishized Klim Kostin. They fetishized what's that other guy, Charnik. So yeah, Mazur. You better hope that I don't know, some dudes, find the Lord or something, and they don't want to play hockey anymore, and they join a monastery. It's going to be a while.
Well, speaking of fetishizing things, I was fantasizing about the up of Mazur and Razor think we all came up with that one pretty quick, and we wanted to see the Mazur Razor line. But like we get the reality of it. It's just one of those things. Like it was exciting. We were kind of like, oh, cool. Let's see what happens. And then it was like, oh, you mean the normal thing that always happens? He'll be down in Grand Rapids. And again, like I said, we battle all the time. It's like, oh, do I want the Griffins to fail? No, but I don't tune. I don't look up like, oh, did they win? Like, I'm not like scrolling to find the scores at night. And you guys that are, God bless you. But again, the hat says Red Wings. I don't want them to fail, but this isn't exciting for me.
Priority. It's okay to have priority too. But yeah, we got to go to these standings.
Hey, what the hell is this bullshit? There we go. Oh, you can see less now. All right. I mean, I got to shrink it even more. All right. Yeah. Oh, that's the opposite.
Matt, I don't know what the big deal is. You should be used to shrinkage. No big deal.
I got it to shrink enough.
Wonderful.
All right. Wingdings, second in the division to the Bees. Boston seems to not be phased by the loss of Patrice Bergeron in any way.
They seem inspired by both of those exits, and they're playing better than ever. My God, they're almost as good as the Golden Knights.
Yeah, it's not good for us who were, we're trying to figure out who's going to fall off the division, because I was kind of hoping it was going to be Boston, but I think it was sort of tongue in cheek, but The Athletic came out with an article that was attached with a tweet, and it was like, turns out Patrice was holding them back. And it was, again, it was a joke, but they were talking about all of the different hard analytics that were showing like they're okay. Last year, you know what? They broke a record. This year, their start is even hotter. Not just this record of 8-0-1, but yeah, wasn't that the other stat that was like, for any team that's won the President's Trophy, this is the best start for any team that won the President's Trophy in the previous season, which it's nuts. It's a lot of regular season wins for the Bruins.
Matt,
but it puts us in a pickle.
I don't know if I'd say two things kind of jump out at me so far at the standings. Well, I guess three if we count Boston. But one is not just the Red Wings kind of having a quick start. I feel like we've had that a couple of years in a row. But it did kind of feel like in those instances, our goal differential was either even or negative. So we were kind of trying to figure out, oh, okay, we got a few hot goaltending starts, and this team still doesn't know how to score goals. So seeing them at +9 makes me feel, a little bit better about this year's hot start. And then I don't know why, Matt. It's not a Klim Kostin fetish. It's a goal differential fetish. And the other team I'm looking at is Ottawa, who's +6, even though they're a 500 team right now. Mm-hmm. So it kind of makes me a little concerned that, my God, how awesome is this division that, that's, the seventh team down. It also makes me think that they might not be long for that cellar, that they could climb a little bit very soon based on, their potential. So I definitely respect Ottawa, even after, we defeated them earlier this year.
Well, for anybody who hasn't heard, Ottawa is in shambles right now because they fired Pierre Dorion. They lost a first-round pick earlier today. I can't remember. I don't know if they had to make an announcement or anything of what first-round pick they're going to lose.
You still can't hold them down, man.
Huh?
You still can't hold them down. Take all their draft picks away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I missed them. No. So it is something like I don't know if it was kind of like, all right, Ottawa, we wanted you to be off to a better start, but also Pierre, you really screwed up here because we're down some first round picks these last couple years, or at least the last and maybe this, but it's not a finished product. They're still supposed to be in the Red Wings sort of bubble here. So it's kind of fun is to see Ottawa kind of, at least from a management perspective, in shambles. Buffalo also sharing the bottom of the standings at 8 points with Ottawa, who both of those teams were pegged as, easy finish over the Red Wings. Yeah, sure. The Red Wings they're in the Ottawa Buffalo bubble, but they're definitely the last place team. So right now, we get to do the old like kitty litter kick, backwards at Ottawa and Buffalo. I don't know. I'm doing it, but clearly nobody could see my legs or feet. But that feels pretty good right now. We do have Florida and Boston coming up. I think your point to how even this division is, except for the number 1 team going, from 2 to 8. I mean, every weekend this thing looks like it could completely flip on its head. So, maybe less, 3-game losing streaks, more 5-game winning streaks. But I don't know if what I saw against Boston, Mike, what you and I witnessed against Winnipeg, it's not really instilling a ton of confidence. We'll look into it more, but in a minute here, we have some analytics. But I did want to call out we're getting some comments spitting back at me. Crimson Shadow, damn right you want Grand Rapids to be good, because if they're not, that says our talent pool isn't as good and we thought and we need development. Now I'll say this: if the talent pool is really good, they're in the NHL. And we've had some great Grand Rapids Griffins teams that won championships, including one with Tyler Bertuzzi on it. And my man, Tyler Bertuzzi, what's he got 2 points now with Toronto through 9 games? I'm just saying, it doesn't guarantee anything. I almost feel like it's like, hey, well, hold on a minute. We've seen some pretty good Griffins teams that did give us Jack SHIT, in case the kids are still awake. Blake throwing out there, Habs are poop. Yeah, they'll fall back, but it is kind of fun to watch the Habs get some wins here. There was some concern about Nate Danielson in the comments. I'm not worried about it at all. When we saw him playing preseason games, he looked turned on and turned up and ready to go. So again, like, do these guys turn it all the way up in GR? I can't say for sure. We've seen some guys that absolutely do. We've seen some guys that play better once they're in the NHL. I'm just saying, I get it. I'm not saying I want Grand Rapids to be bad, but I refuse. To be excited that Carter Mazur's headed there. I refuse. All right, Mike, you saw a comment. Is that did I hit the one that you saw, or were you looking at a different one?
No, I'm still I apologize. I wasn't as up to date on this Ottawa Senators story. And Craig is right on the money, and Dan B, that they get to choose if they're giving up their 24, 25, or 26 pick. And it could end up being the Debrincat pick because they have 2 this coming year. Yeah, it sounds like we're not going to get a ton of details about this. Just that it has something to do with the Dadenoff trade and how there might have been a fake no trade clause, 10-team no trade clause. And it kind of feels like a what's the harm? Maybe it just gets out the teams and the agents. I don't really know. I guess maybe the league doesn't like having egg on their face that these teams can, fabricate no trade clauses. But I feel like we're going to get as little information as possible, because it would also mean that the NHL wasn't really like auditing any of these situations until it's way too late. And now they're just going to deal out punishments so that you don't think about doing it again. So, sounds like a fun league, it reminds me of kind of the opposite of like, when the San Antonio Spurs coach, Greg Popovich, he would bench like Tim Duncan, was a Hall of Famer, and on the injury report, he would play. He's not playing because of, quote, old. So I just kind of wish that, I don't know. I know this, this could potentially look bad for the NHL, but I don't know if it's really worthy of a first round pick being, removed. But I guess we'll move on and actually talk Red Wings. It sounds like something the NHL would do, I guess.
We know if they do something truly awful, they'll win the lottery and get Connor Bedard's replica and talent. So that's.
I see what you did there, Matt.
Yeah.
Well, we talked.
Yeah, they
Carter,
really
we talked
they
to-
really throw the hammer down when somebody may have bet on sports and you tried to cheat the system to get a trade, but no worries if you damage handfuls of human beings, mentally scarring them.
Hey, Jared from way downtown. Bang. But hey, sexual assault on a player. Am I right? Woo!
Woof.
Get him, Jared. Yeah, I'm gonna see if we can submit this series of comments over to the league meetings. I think because I think we're a little more on the money. But yeah, I don't know about nitpicking the punishment. It just sounds like something NHL-y, if you will. And we can move on.
Well, yeah, moving
Because
on.
we had some stuff that I think you could be, a little optimistic about some of these numbers, Matt.
Yeah, JFRESH, he's updating his stuff, right? I mean, some of this stuff is easy to kind of look at. You're just kind of looking at like the real results, right? We're not seeing necessarily projections here on a points percentage. We're 10th in the NHL in our division, 4th. So maybe that I got that last one after the real update here. Goals for, we're 5th. Goals against, we're 15th. Goal share, we're 7th. Power play percentage, we're 3rd. Finishing, Mike. Spent all offseason asking for finishing. Boy, oh boy, have we gotten it. And you got to think the Ghost Bear, obviously Debrincat, Larkin's putting him in. And shoot, there was one more name. Oh, and Sprung. Sprung's the huge one. That was just for like 100%. Like back to what we were asking.
Did you put the Ghost Bear in that list?
Yes, the Ghost Bear and Sprung are probably the ones that are more important here to mention, and finishing being number 2 in the league. So you're talking about guys that you brought in that are labeled as defensive liabilities, but you're like, I don't care. I just want goals in the back of the net. And that's what you get.
Do you mean that you, the fan, or you as in Michael? Because I've been saying that for years.
I'm actually I think it's us first. And we're willing to forgive the defensive liabilities. And I think, what's funny is it comes, we go down to the second part of this list here. Expected goals for, we're 22nd. Expected goals against, we're 23rd. Expected goals shared, 24th. PK is doing pretty good. Our goalie's ranked 8th. But going back to expected goals for, I mean, this has been a problem for how many years? But now it's one of these things where if you have a Debrincat, you have a Sprung, you have a Ghost Bear, you can make up for not having the highest expected goals for in the league. How many seasons now have we just been having this conversation about how far behind like our ownership of the puck is when these are the possession stats, the expected goals for, expected goals against. It's just not doing great. Well, there's one way to combat that. One is having a killer power play percentage. And 2 is just having boys that can finish. And you got a couple. Now, Mike, we also saw before the Islanders game what happens when they don't, and it hurts and it's ugly. But if that doesn't just get you ready for the rest of the season, maybe out of like 10 games compared to last year, we're going to get one extra win. But it's still not going to be great. And that's, it does come back to the question you were asking before, like not necessarily the question you were asking, but like how frustrated we were. I don't think this is going to be like the easiest season to watch, but we are going to have things to root for. And it's fun to root for things that aren't just like, oh man, it's going to be great seeing this prospect for 9 games. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. It's more fun to root for Debrincat and Larkin trying to fight for the league lead in points. Like that is way more fun.
Yeah, I'd much rather root for like production instead of potential. So yeah, this is definitely a lot more satisfying. It's these numbers, God, I think they do represent what we've seen so far, right?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if you want to necessarily like hang on to these for the moment or look at how we had that mini like winless streak and how rough things got and how scary it felt. Like, my God, this is the past couple years happening all over again. Where we weren't scoring. We were getting, bare butt spankings from, decent teams.
Oh my God, Boston. I mean, that game, that wasn't even a
I just
hockey
felt
game.
so
That
thoroughly
wasn't fun to watch
outclassed.
at all. Yeah, that
No.
was a wake up. Like that was like, oh, this is what real hockey looks like. And yeah, the bare butt spanking hurt. I was sad watching that game. That really, like, I hit the ground hard because I felt like, okay, we're back here now.
It was all a mirage. Yeah,
And
I guess. How
Boston's
did you
doing that to
guys?
everyone.
Yeah, no. Did you guys feel concerned about that? Like that little losing streak? Did it feel like last year, or do you kind of feel like that was just an ebb and flow, and we've kind of been conditioned to panic?
I'll answer that first, but I would like to hear from everybody. I think I am conditioned to panic. And that's based off of years of being a sports fan. It's not just based off of the last like 5, 6, 7 years, if you want to do it that way, because I watched the Lions lose to Baltimore, and then I lost all confidence. I was just like, oh God, it's not real. We can't compete with the best in the NFL. And not to say like the Raiders game on Monday Night Football brought me back. I think I'm still hurting. I'm still kind of like I was too confident, and I'm mad at myself. I let myself like I made myself vulnerable, and I should have kept
Yeah.
the hard outer shell. And that's what I'm doing with the Red Wings right now. Like the Boston game was a wake up call. We came into this season expecting what happened with Boston, me and you. Like that's what we came in thinking. And then I kind of let my guard down because we did start out so hot. Our shooting percentage was that great. Our power play looked that good. And I was like, all right, maybe we got something here. And then
Yeah, I think the scary part was like, similarly, we've been watching the Lions. They only have 2 losses. They've looked really good, and you feel like you have a sense of identity. The Pistons, young team, similar, trajectory as our Wings right now. And they almost started 3-0 outside of a few missed shots, and it felt like, okay, I could kind of see where they're building an identity. And then that losing streak happened. You're like, my God, we have no identity except sucking. It was really only. I mean, we lost to the Kraken in overtime. Winnipeg. Watching that in person, we were like, wow, this is easily the worst game they've played all year. And then the Red Wings are like, hold my beer. Actually, give that beer back. We're gonna go to Boston and play even worse. And then those first couple periods against the Islanders, you thought, my God, it's over already. And then,
yeah.
maybe that third period is kind of where you feel obviously less nauseated, but feel like there's, you'll hear the players kind of mention, oh, we have a new mindset, that the game's never over. And, it's kind of a really tired cliche because you don't know if, those guys are actually giving up. They are human beings. But that Islanders game kind of made me feel like, okay, maybe they are a little bit different this year. Does that third period make you feel a little bit better about, having fewer of those panic moments as a Wings fan?
I mean,
Oh,
there's a couple of things to unpack there because I want to come back to like last week we were talking about how great it was to just destroy Ottawa, and I was like, yes, you didn't just beat Ottawa, you kicked the shit out of them like they did to you. Like that says something. The comeback against the Islanders really felt like not only did I feel this way, but it felt like the Red Wings probably felt this way. But it was like, holy fuck, we need to get this game. We need to get this season back on track. And they dug themselves out of that hole. Because if you look at Islanders, it was 60-40 in ownership of the puck in favor of the Islanders. That's back-to-back games when you go back to the Boston game. But like the Winnipeg game was like a Hellebuck show. And you and I were watching that game. We were live, and I was like, "Oh, great! Hellebuck decided to turn back into Hellebuck against us." What did he ended up having a goals saved above expected at 2.41. I just started looking this stuff up right now. So it's like we watched a Red Wing team that outplayed Winnipeg, and they just couldn't get it done. They just couldn't finish the job, right? Boston. So you lose that game, and you had just lost in overtime after Lucas Raymond rang one off a post, and then you go to Boston, and that one is like that's the game you lost. You were supposed to lose. So that's something like in hindsight, I think it's calming. It's good to like look at the whole picture. You almost beat Seattle. Flukas doesn't ring one off the post. You outplayed Winnipeg, and then you kind of stole one from the Islanders if you look at the full game again and say like, oh well, the Islanders actually own the puck for more of that game, especially in the first and second period. So maybe that overtime win with Lucas was just like maybe you just flop that and go back to Seattle, and really you're just on a 2-game losing streak right now when it comes to being outplayed, being outshot kind of thing. So that makes me feel better, but I still don't like going into Boston. Like we have Boston again this weekend. I think for me to feel like absolutely 100% better,
I just see them be like competitive at least.
God. I don't want to get, I don't know. I can't remember if this is okay to say or not, but getting manhandled, I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see getting completely outplayed, because that's last year, that's 2 years ago, that's 3, 4, 5 years ago, Red Wings.
Yeah.
We should be beyond that. We don't need to win every game, but we shouldn't be getting outclassed to that degree, especially when you have a team that's,
well, let's
seems to be excited about this season.
Yeah, we had a few of the people coming in. Fritz saying I got scared. Performance art. I think this is tongue in cheek, but he said I freaked out with one loss. Dan B was quick to bring us back to reality. They lost in OT and should have won that game, so not worried. There was another one I really liked. Crimson Shadow. What's up, Crimson? Saying Detroit fans could probably be diagnosed with Stockholm Syndrome. Jared saying losing to the Jets shocked me. I think getting destroyed by the Jets was shocking because it kind of felt like there was a noticeable change in the tempo. And it's like, oh, you could tell. You didn't even have to look at the jerseys. You could be like, oh, Larkin and Debrincat are out there. And anytime they weren't, like the Jets just controlled the play the whole time. So it definitely made me feel like, what happened to the depth? So Debrincat doesn't score for a game, so the whole team just doesn't score.
Blake thrown out there. Jets surprised me how good they played. I liked where was it? There was there's another one. Go ahead. Sorry. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Here we go. Performance art. If they lost to the Islanders, it would have been rebuild talk. Like that's I saw that from performance art and I laughed. That might be a conversation point in this show, no lie. If we had lost,
that was that was the one I was looking for. That probably would have opened the show. Performance art.
Did we jump the gun?
Yeah.
Corey thrown out there. Don't forget, we're not really a young team.
No, we're not, Corey. No, we're not. You're very right. And then Fritz also concerned. Oh God, is manhandled offensive now? Oh, you know what? Crimson threw out a good one too that I hope we touch on today. Was I've noticed Raymond thrives in overtime. Dude just gets hungry in the clutch. We were kind of jokingly talking about our boy Max Boltman for the Athletic, teasing because he wrote about all the things. I think it was Sherratt does that you can't. Was it Sherratt that he does that you can't see?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we've like, no, I see him. He's terrible. He also said the same thing about Lucas Raymond. And then he's been like noticeably excellent the past couple games where you can see his impact on the ice, like eyeball tests, deep cut analytics stuff. That dude's been rocking. So
Yeah, we'll
it does
actually
make me want to put him like on the second line just to try and carry those dudes, because the first one's going to be fine with whoever the third person is with the Cat and Larkin.
Yeah, we can. I pulled up Evolving Hockey, started pushing out their stuff too. Now that we've hit 10 games for the season, and again, we share these all year. These are going to be the bar graphs, the Rap'em charts that are a representation of these players compared to the rest of the NHL. And you basically have, if you guys are watching on YouTube, the darker blue that you see, the better position they're in, or the higher position they're in. And of course, it's kind of orange right now because we're looking at our better players, but it's the darker red that you see for goals for per 60, expected goals for, Corsi for, expected goals against, Corsi against. Those are the numbers that we're measuring. You're looking at your four best forwards right now, Mike, and coming back to Daniel Sprong, not only is our boy good at finishing, when he's on the ice, puck's actually, they're owning the puck and getting the puck on net when Spronger's out there. Good to see. And you're talking about trying to mix up these lines to find some offense, maybe on the second line. I might start eyeballing that. If you're going to say that Cop and JT Comfort clean up all the messes, then maybe they can clean up Sprong's messes too while he's busy whipping the puck at the back of the net. Like you mentioned, Lucas Raymond also off to a great start. He's actually closer to the average player in the league when it comes to like evening out the possession stats, but it's the goals for per 60 are really standing out. And of course, he's benefiting a lot because these are on ice statistics from Dylan Larkin and Alex Debrincat, who of course is absolutely killing it. Both sides are. Debrincat, if you had to look at these charts and pick your MVP, I mean, actually, you might lean towards Sprong first, but Debrincat's really bringing it. From the goals for per 60, expected goals for per 60, Corsi for per 60, owning the puck, putting it in the back of the net when he does fire it. It's a beauty to see. We were looking at the team performance so far this year, and you're trying to figure out how it happened. I'm probably doing a disservice without the Ghost Bear being represented in here too. But these are the boys that are doing it. And this is three of these guys are the ones you ask to do the most time on ice from a forward perspective. And like you said, there's things that get talked about in the NHL media where it's like you just don't understand. You just don't see what he does. Well, Lucas Raymond is one of those guys who's making it painfully obvious everything he does, and it looks great. And I don't need to question whether or not he's having a good start to the season. Oh God, that's not where I wanted to go. But there's been a couple call outs to that second line. And Mike, I actually misspoke. I think Max wasn't talking about Sherratt. He was talking about Cop and Comfort.
It was Cop.
That was, yep.
Yeah.
Now,
that was a good break for you, Matt. We say all these nice things. Now we pivot over to slightly different looking Rap'em chart here.
Slightly different. Now I do have to confess here. Maybe we got to pull away on this on the overlay for a second here, so everybody can see what's going on.
So I know that the numbers don't look great. I will say that it sounds like the defense for these guys is that they're being strategically implemented in a way that they call them a matchup line, where they want them playing against the other team's, better scoring line. And they're often find themselves starting in their own defensive zone. So their scoring opportunities are not going to be as high as, like what we would want for a Larkin, Debrincat line. So I mean, the odds are a little stacked against them, right? Because they're already kind of put on their heels. They're put against the other team's scoring line. Does that make this a little more digestible for you, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. I brought this up almost jokingly, but yeah, they're going to be out there. They're going to start in the defensive end, like Max brought up. They're going to play. They're going to have the hardest matchups. So this is how you stack this up, right? So you make sure Alex Debrincat and Dylan Larkin are in a position to score.
Real quick, pull
Yeah.
this slide up, and Dan B said, "Do you have that slide in upside down?" That was a good one.
But yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah, this is how you properly use your team and set them up for success. Because one of the things here for Cop and Comfort that I'm going to call out is that their goals for per 60 lesser than the expected goals for, especially for Comfort, lesser than for the Corsi 4 per 60. And that's because, again, the ways that they're utilized. So they're being utilized the way we're being sold. They're being clearly, like, the analytics line up with it. It's just something, like, for me, it's still a loss on the ice. You know what I mean? Like, it's not it's not like these are, like, middling. You know, it's still across the board. They are giving up shots. Husso's getting peppered. So it looks to me like it's gonna happen. I don't want to see something that looks this bad, but I guess you can look at it and say, well, it's probably a little bit worse than it should be. But then on the flip side of it, I mean, this is your second line that you would ask on most teams to add some offense. So I'm thinking maybe breaking these guys up.
Bingo. I like both of those points, Matt.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, you stole my thunder.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think it's that we're against Cop and Comfort, but like you said, other teams that I'm envious of over the years. Second lines in Tampa, second lines in Pittsburgh, second lines and third lines and fourth lines in Boston. Is that they can score. So yeah, there's absolutely a value for these defensive stopper guys. I wish that we didn't also have to rely on them for points because we know that's a kind of proof in the pudding there that they're not huge goal getters. So just I'm greedy, and I wish we could find a way to make these guys our third line, because I got to tell you, it's really cool to see that interchangeability. If somebody gets kicked out of a faceoff, we're like, all right, Cop, you're out. Comfort to come right in. All right, you're kicked out too. Oh, well, here comes Rasmussen. All right, well, that wasn't much of a problem, So that interchangeability, I think, is really cool. I like the philosophy of why they're putting these guys together. But yeah, it does. And maybe we just felt it so hard because we were in person at that Winnipeg game, but it felt like if the Larkin and Debrincat line was not out there was no scoring threat. So maybe that's where you got to boggle these guys a little bit and see where we could sprinkle little Lucas Raymond around to try and get, a second line going.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something too where if you're gonna play this game and say, like, no, my best defensive forwards, they're all on one line, and I could say I remember in the Red Wings days they were a little bit further down on the time on ice bar graph than the second line in our heyday. So I'm just calling into question, like, how do we start to balance these if this team does become a championship team and you got these two guys banking in $5 million? Any hoozles. Getting back to the conversation, I think there's a way to balance these lines so that we can still, like, utilize what we're seeing they do best. And I think it was pointed out, like, eyeball test. Yeah, it was Dan B was like, don't just show me the analytics. I'm an eyeball test guy. But I mean, the eyeball test says, like, okay, this is what's happening. Like, this is the defensive line, right? We don't have to play any games with analytics or anything like that. And then we blatantly hear it and we see it the way that they're utilized. That's what we're talking about. I think it's just one of those things where I thought when we were bringing all these guys, you want more balance, and it wasn't just about front loading one for one direction and front loading one for the other. I feel like balance should have always been the key. And Dylan Larkin, to me, has always been a great two-way forward, but you see how his production skyrocketed when he got a guy like Alex Debrincat. And I don't think he's terrible at defense, by the way. No. So I think it might just be one of those things, finding more balance for that first line, and maybe that guy's not on the team, but not more balance. I'm sorry, distributing the first line so that we could still be as powerful as we are on the first line when Lucas Raymond is out there. But maybe the guy we're bringing in is being put into the second line role and can add a little bit more offense. Or maybe it's doing one of these things like we're talking about of a Comfer, Sprong on one side, Lucas on the other. You got a guy that can create a little bit, a little bit of playmaking, can still shoot the puck, and Spronger, who's just about whipping his body around the front of the net and either banging it off his teeth or, like we saw the other night, being able to rip one in the back of the net too.
It kind of feels like the reverse of, our heyday when you could, all right, we absolutely need a goal. All right, we'll put Datsuk and Zetterberg and Hossa out there. Bam! And it's like, cool. It kind of feels like these guys, like these powers should only be united when we absolutely need a stop. Yeah. And otherwise, I would kind of like to sprinkle them out throughout the lineup, just so it's, a little bit of goal scoring on, more of the lines rather than feeling like it's just the one grouping. And some mat bait out there instead of clickbait. Some mat bait. I see Elias Pettersson getting mentioned here as people are talking about the off season. So Matt, can't wait to share that comment.
Pettersson's a free agent soon. Fritz threw out there.
Easy Weezy. Sneezy, I haven't seen you in a minute. How you doing, bud? Saying, please tell me this is Perron's last year. You know what? I felt that too. And then in the Winnipeg game, he was one of the bright spots. I was kind of like, He made me less angry that night, Sneezy. So I kind of am like, oh, he doesn't play a ton of minutes. I'm okay with him being out there, and we'll have some young guys replace him next season. So I like that idea.
Well, it's so funny. I said the Wings are a playoff team when they can move Perron down to the third line, and they were able to do that. So I was happy. I was like, yeah, Perron belongs on the third, and he belongs, finding some room on the power play too. But Mike, we got to make room for some of our sponsors, including Raycon. It might be too early to start decorating for the holidays, but it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. Why not take care of it now before the crowds and packed calendars make shopping a total nightmare, especially when you can get some of the best deals of the season well before Black Friday. You can shop Raycon products right now and save up to 50% off because of their early Black Friday sale going on now. Speaker, it's right over there. Yep. I am constantly. Oh, what?
You muted for a second. You're back now.
Did I miss some?
No, you muted part of the
muted? Oh no,
yeah, only part of it though. We're okay.
Oh shoot. Well, here's the thing, Mike. The microphone is not Raycon, and if it was Raycon, it wouldn't have malfunctioned because I love their products so much. They first made a name for themselves in the audio space with products like their everyday earbuds, known for delivering that high quality and thoughtful features like a 32-hour battery life. And this past year, they expanded their entire business with the introduction of Raycon Home and Power Tech. 5-star reviewed Magic 180 cable shows you charge iOS micro USB Type-C devices 8 times faster with 100-watt power delivery, and their faucet filter ultra filters water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals. It's a must-have for ensuring the water you use to wash your face and brush your teeth is, clean. I mean, if you got a warehouse that can make filters and earbuds, you should take advantage of that, Mike. To get everyone in the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, Raycon is currently offering 20% off everything in their site with select products up to 50% off. So beat the crowd, save now. And trust me, you do not want to miss out on Raycon's early Black Friday sale. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. The NFL season is going strong, Mike, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game this October. Mike, it does say here it wants me to discuss some bets coming up, but I just want to let everybody know I did this sneaky thing on DraftKings where I waited till the fourth quarter and made myself a big juicy parlay with all the teams that were winning, and they all won. And I brought home a nice chunk of change. So, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm not recommending it. I'm just telling you about my experience, and it worked out pretty good. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner in the NFL. The crowd is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 887-877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, 21 and up, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restriction terms and responsible gaming resources. All right.
Yes.
I'm glad we have the most viewers now that we're running through the ads. It's perfect.
Beautiful.
Guys, use Raycon and DraftKings.
Yeah.
Okay. So where were we? Cop and Cop for Suck, Ass, Daniel Sprong, Lucas Raymond, Dylan Larkin, Alex Debrincat are awesome. I'm kidding. Yeah, we talked about a fix. I think there's a fix. I think if we're looking at this and thinking like this lineup is perfect, you guys are nutso. And if you're looking at this roster and not thinking that, my boy Elias Pettersson isn't worth that trade, you're also crazy.
I would say we have a late bid for comment of the episode here, Matt, where Ketzel said, Prawn is half the player he was last year, but the comment is Silver saying, and I like half of you as much as you deserve. And I think he meant to say, and I like half of you half as much as you deserve, from old Bilbo Baggins and Lord of the Rings. So, Silver, you want to, I know you're Silver, but you want a gold medal for that one. Yeah. And then we had some more Pettersson talk.
Vancouver's never going to let Pettersson walk out the door. I would love him in red, though.
NHL players never let them
only thing
walk out the door, Matt. They never leave.
Yeah. He might just be playing hard to get those big bucks. But Vancouver also said, hey, whoa, we're not sure about this either. But Vancouver's not off to a bad start, which is really bumming me out. So you win and everybody's happy. But Edmonton sucks, so maybe Draisaitl's available. I don't know. I'm going to sit here and embarrass myself and call out the best names in hockey. But come on, guys. If you listen to the show, you've heard me whine before. I'm not sitting here looking to dink and dunk across this lineup. No. I want some badass motherfucker in our top six to just kick the shit out of everybody. It's not so much to ask, is it?
Also, your audio and your mouth are not lined up, man.
God damn it.
Yeah. Are you paying Xfinity again?
Well, I don't know what to do about that.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say, just, package up Danielson, Casper, Edvinsson, a couple first-round picks, bring Elias Pettersson over. We're good to go. We got a hockey team now. Who says no?
Pettersson.
I mean, you guys got to give up to get. You guys know that, right? Like, we're not just.
No, Matt, we do one-sided trades. That's how this Iser plan works.
Right.
Crimson Shadow, if you find the
stay,
reference,
you talk to the group.
If you find this,
I'm gonna refresh.
Okay, Crimson, if you find this, the source for this fun fact, basically saying the Wings have the lowest percentage of prospects making the NHL, 39%. God, that seems like such a low number. And I know we had some people touch on it earlier too. I think it was somebody we haven't heard from too frequently. It was Corey Manning. Corey, what's up, man? Just saying, I'm frustrated. We have no prospects in the lineup. Yeah, I think that's what Matt and I definitely talked about at the start of the season. There's no flash in the pan guy that we could maybe give a shot to. They made a priority to Charnick and Clint Costin, and they said they want a real checking guy down there, and then he got tweeted by Darren McCarty, and so now everybody loves him, and he's never going to leave, even though if you're discouraged by Cop and Comfer getting goals, woo! Watch Costin out there trying to puck handle.
Silver, after my heart. Man after my heart. You'd give Edvinsson, Casper, and 2 firsts for Elias P on a 7 to 8 year extension.
Silver, now
Let's
I'm a little
fucking
concerned
go.
that Matt disappeared for a second. This comment pops up. I'm a little convinced you're a Matt Burner account now.
How's the audio? Is my voice lined up with
Yeah, it's better now.
Cool. Yeah. Crimson, bench Sherratt for Edvinsson. I mean, eventually. I don't know why that didn't already happen.
Yeah, the Red Wings, Matt, I'm gonna have to do the numbers for you, but the way that we will put alternate captains for easily our least skilled players for many years in a row, Sherratt is just another in a long line of those people.
Jim thrown out there, Vancouver is still a very poorly managed team and have been for years. Could play to our advantage. I mean, they're dum-dums that a couple years ago were trading for Ekman Larson. So, I mean, they don't make great trades. So it could be, maybe it could be a steal. But I'm just throwing out there, like, that's where I'm at right now. Like, I want to see a big move like that. One where everybody's like, what's Steve doing? And then I'm just going to be at home going, yeah, bring me more talent. I'm going to be thrilled if that happens. You guys are all maybe not this crowd, but there's going to be so many angry people if that happens. But, I'll be happy.
I do like Dan B kind of fact checking us a little bit. You can't have prospects in the lineup when they make the team. Raymond and Sider, anybody? Yeah, I think it's Dan. I don't think you're wrong. Right, to at least make a mention of that. Those two guys are very young and they made the team very young. I think we were just kind of discouraged about how that fourth line was compiled. I didn't think that it would be jabronis who can't score. I thought that maybe we could worm in or shoehorn in some guys who could put a puck in a net. So overall, you are right to name drop those two guys, right? But I think that fourth line just kind of that's kind of or this pursuit to get more 30-year-old defensemen instead of letting Edvinsson get a shot. Like those two moves kind of accentuate that point.
I mean, if Boston's able to bring in some young guys and make it work, I don't know why the Red Wings are like what the difference is. Like what was the reasoning behind it? Is it just so that I don't know.
I mean, let's look at defensively. Jeff Petrie, 35. Oli Mata, 29. Jake Wallman, 27. Don't call me Hole. Justin Hall, 31. The Ghost Bear, love him, 30 years old. Ben Sherratt, 32. It's a lot of old dudes. And yeah, Mo's in there to, kind of help clean out the average age. But yeah, it's I know that, we've had some good, Wallman obviously is good. I don't know if Petrie's good. He doesn't like to be on the ice very much, being injured. The Ghost Bear obviously is taking us by storm, right? But I did kind of feel like that fourth line and maybe defensively we could have had a prospect, but that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dan threw out there older guys are going to be moved at the deadline. I mean, if that was the plan, go for it. Just don't bring in Justin Hall for 3.4. Like.
Luckily, we have somebody who's going to help our cap sheet. New to the show, I don't think we've had him before. Dixon Sider, clever name there. Thank you for that. saying he'll talk to his brother and tell him to sign for less and play better. Matt, do your best not to say that full name out loud, lest you fall in the same trap I did.
Dixon Cider.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, silver thrown out there. Hall is plus 10. So he's
I told you,
perfect.
don't call me Hole.
A++++.
He's Hall.
Also, you need a few graybeards in the roster when games get hard, Dan B says.
The Red Wings philosophy is all graybeards. That's it.
We can't have both. I mean, I guess you could, right? You need flexibility. But I feel like we need to pick one. Did we get old so that we have experience for the playoffs? Or did we bring in a bunch of guys we could trade at the deadline? God damn it.
Crimson says, to be fair, the Red Wing way, overcooking prospects in the minors, quality over quantity. I think what might be a little scarier to think is that maybe we don't really have good prospects. So we don't have anybody worth bringing up. So we keep waiting and waiting and waiting for these guys to finally make it. And there were exceptions because Raymond and Sider are so good so young. So,
yeah, I mean,
scary idea.
No, it's a very scary idea. I think if you were to put on the tinfoil cap right now, you wouldn't need to do a ton to convince me that Steve is actually protecting these guys so that they're better trade pieces. Like
when you say the word protecting, you are avoiding exposing them.
Yeah. Yeah, the mystery's still alive. We don't truly know. I mean, when Berggren got his time to shine this year, and if you watch that and you're like, man, I fucking knew it. It wasn't the Berggren I saw. I thought he was invisible. So, just throwing that out there. Like I said, if you're the tinfoil cap guy, Mike, I think, a lot of guys we were watching over in a completely different league in Europe, and we were like, oh man, this guy's going to be amazing when he comes over. And, it just was one of those things. Like, I think it's a learning experience for how not easy it is to translate from any of these European leagues to the NHL. I don't know if anybody's really going to make that argument, but it definitely, if you weren't aware of that yet, you should be now, because on a roster that isn't going to win the President's Trophy this year, those guys couldn't make the team, any of them. Or it's just one of those things where we do know where their ceiling is at. And I just, it's tough for me. It's easier for me to be convinced that they're fearful of the talent level that they've built so far. It's easier for me to be convinced of that than for someone to say like, you don't understand. You got to have a bunch of old guys in the lineup before you start to mix in Berggren full time. That doesn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, that just sounds like crazy talk.
Yeah. It's I'm sorry, I just had to throw Jared in there. He spun a few lines of gold today, and my favorite so far is Petrie steals Mickey's Insure. And then Fritz thrown in there, bring in Thornton for the cup run. Just so we have another gray beard.
Ketzel thrown out there. Berggren is a passing machine. If he doesn't have someone to pass to, he looks bad. I mean, I don't know what are we count, so yeah, we give him a perfect goal scorer. He'll be great. It's okay. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not, we don't have the game changers guys, right? Or isn't that kind of what the point we're making? Like, yeah, the guy can pass, but
I mean, yeah, it's not that we don't. It's not that we're averse to veterans, but I mean, Crimson dropped like a list with like 4 Hall of Famers in it. So, I mean, I don't think there's any Hall of Famers on this roster unless you really want to, say a Larkin Red Wing Hall of Famer or something like that.
And Dan B throws out there, correct, Ketzel. Berggren needs to play with skill guys, not fourth line checkers. Well, he showed a well enough ability to produce in the preseason that they put him in the top 6. I'm just kidding.
Ketzel,
I get it. Like, we know we've seen him pass, but
yeah, Bergeron and Raymond on line 2 have a second scoring line. That would be nice.
I mean, that's what we called out before the season started, but it's like, okay, so what are we? Or like, that's what we wanted. You and I built a roster. We put Bergeron on the second line. Gets sent down to Grand Rapids. So why couldn't that happen instead of what we are looking at with this?
Because we don't want to emulate the Bruins. We don't want to emulate the Bruins, Matt.
I guess what I'm asking is like, who's wrong, right? Who's screwing this up? Is it Steve? Is it Lalone? Or is it us? Were we just boneheads for thinking Bergeron deserved a top 6 opportunity?
I mean, we're daring to question the mighty Steve Yzerman. He's made no mistakes. This is all part of the plan.
Yeah. I mean, guys, you could tell me, no, Matt, you're an idiot. Bergeron did not belong in the top 6. He belongs in Grand Rapids. But then I'm like, okay.
The blind faith, Matt, is quickly turning into Old Testament God. Like, why did you drown my grandmother in a river? Well, it's all part of the plan. She had to die. I had to kill your grandmother so the Red Wings could have enough money to sign Andrew Kopp. Sorry. Okay, well, I'm in. It's part of the plan, guys. It's not that weird.
But the Steve Wills.
Yes.
Yeah, they'd be like, I would love Bergeron and Lucas together. Right. We all would.
Just that. That's the perfect emoji, too. That's how I felt just reading that sentence.
Yeah. Craig throwing out there, Bergeron, Veleno, Raymond. I think we might have seen that last year. Veleno, we haven't talked about it yet, but Joe's
good shooting percentage. Good shooting percentage, Matt. Very sustainable. Up at 48. Is it that high? I know it was high.
I don't know how high. Oh, it was 40 last week, so it had to have come down. But I mean,
no, I mean, look, it's just it won't be at those sites forever. Yeah.
Was that the Boston game where he made that play? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I didn't even have that much of a point. I was just going to say, he's played well, and I give him a lot of grief over the past 2 seasons. So it's nice to see him actually contribute on the score sheet, as well as being more of a defensive forward.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was it wasn't just like pucks bouncing off his face. I mean, that play that was against Boston, right? That play was nuts. That was stealing on his own, making the room, cross the goaltender over the left shoulder from the goaltender's right side. Just a beautiful shot, beautiful play. Loved it. And it's funny. We keep seeing, like, a couple years ago, Veleno had like that wide open from Sam Gagner that he just boinked off the post. I felt like we saw some of those last year, and I thought we saw a couple of those in the first couple games this season. Mm-hmm. And now they just love going in the back of the net off his stick. So it's like the smarts are there, right? He knows where to be on the ice, and things just weren't going his way. But now, I mean, not even that. Like, we don't even have to have that conversation. It was straight up Veleno went beast mode and scored on his own. So that was fun to see.
One more beast mode that we got to mention. Crimson saying how JT and Raymond look like a damn good line in overtime. Crimson, watching that overtime, those two guys together made me think of that Vince McMahon meme where he's like being more and more impressed, and then he falls backward out of his chair. They looked awesome together. I would love to see more of those two playing. And like you said, Rasmussen, Comfort, and Ray.
All right, this is going to be a big test here. Is my mouth moving with my audio?
Not even close.
All right, I'm going to refresh again.
All right. Well, we are at an hour and 4 minutes too, so we might have to wrap it up here. As Matt, further expresses the efficiency, the effectiveness of what is Xfinity wireless internet.
Shut up.
If anything is exciting as Matt's internet connection, it's probably my connection to Bally Sports, which has still not worked. And those people have the gall to tweet at me and tell me how great the product is, saying, "Oh, you're missing a big old hockey game right now, or you're missing a big old basketball game. What a play!" And you can watch it anywhere but Bally Sports. So yes, I'm still grumpy about it. But let's tease this Florida game, Matt, because based on these numbers, we got a win coming.
Nope, I think my audio is still going to be screwed up because.
Yep. I heard you for. Okay, you're coming back. Yeah. Let's say something, Matt.
Am I? Can you actually hear me?
You kind of remind me of who's that comedian who did the puppets? Not the how come I can't think of the famous one? I think of the one in Vegas who did
Terry
the same
Fader?
bit. Terry Fader. Yeah.
Oh, Jeff Dunham.
I couldn't think of Jeff Dunham, but I could think of
Jeff
the Vegas Fader guy. Yeah. But
all right, well let's run through this. I think basically what we see for this Red Wings versus Panthers game is that if it's about putting the puck in the back of the net, like who can actually finish, it's gonna be the Detroit Red Wings. Florida Panthers are struggling a little bit, but if it's about possessing the puck and maybe just throwing the puck at the net, that's where Florida is gonna get you. But to that end, I'm trusting the Red Wings a little bit more on offense, but I think it's Florida's defense so far that's going to be a problem. And I think earlier somebody mentioned that Reimer's going to be a net, and we had a good start for Reimer. Not a great last game for Reimer. He was in Winnipeg, right? Or played against Winnipeg at the game that we were at. So, I don't know. I think at least this will even out to something where it'll be a low scoring game and probably, something late in the third. Definitely will not be high scoring. Can I say that? I think they could stifle us and we won't need to do much to prevent their scoring.
I think if you're predicting a low scoring game, you're predicting defeat. You're probably going to want 4 goals. That's how the Red Wings win now. So, Matt, give me 4-3 Red Wings.
Nope. This actually looks much worse when you pull up like the non-league comparison and just show the two teams compared. But yeah, I'm still thinking if it's low scoring, you can get one from Debrincat or Larkin. So that's where I'm crossing my fingers. All right, and then against Boston, I'll just keep talking because it looks like my audio's off by a few seconds again. I just think we're gonna get shellacked, and it won't be fun to watch again. What evidence do I have that things are gonna change?
I think that expecting a victory is asking a lot, but I would like to be able to watch the game and not feel like I'm completely wasting my time. So if we can close that 4-1 gap and maybe just lose 3-2, maybe it won't be as bad. So
well,
I would like a split.
The audio's so screwed up.
Yeah. Crimson also good.
Yeah,
good
the audio's so screwed up.
Today and tomorrow with the Bally Sports app because they haven't fixed shit. They haven't fixed a goddamn thing. Still doesn't work.
Pieces of shit. Okay, yeah. We're finally going to sail off into the sunset as we can't even have a conversation right now. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Go Wings, and hopefully, the Steve Yzerman guy figures things out because, what the hell. All right, see ya.